The Galactic Council had ruled the known universe for 12,000 years. They controlled 700 star systems, commanded fleets that could darken entire suns, and possessed weapons capable of cracking planets like eggs. When their scout ships discovered Earth, they laughed at what they found. Humans were still burning fossil fuels. They fought wars over invisible lines on their maps. They had barely touched their own moon and called it an achievement. The Council's military advisor, Admiral Zordax of the Valorian Empire, presented his assessment to the assembled species with barely hidden amusement. "These creatures pose no threat," he announced to the gathered representatives. "They lack faster than light travel. Their weapons are primitive chemical explosions. Their bodies are fragile, requiring constant maintenance just to survive. I recommend standard subjugation protocol. They will make adequate laborers for our mining colonies." The Council agreed without debate. They had conquered hundreds of species this way. The process was simple and efficient. Send a single warship, demonstrate overwhelming power, and demand surrender. No primitive species had ever resisted once they understood the futility of fighting back. The Dominion-class warship Eternal Victory arrived in Earth's orbit on a Tuesday morning. It was 3 kilometers long, bristling with plasma cannons and shielded by energy barriers that could withstand nuclear explosions. Commander Thrall of the Keshan race stood on the observation deck, watching the blue planet rotate slowly below. He felt almost sorry for the humans. They had no idea what was about to happen to their world. Thrall broadcast his message across every frequency the humans used. His translators had learned their languages from intercepted signals. The message was simple and direct. Surrender unconditionally. Accept Council rule. Become servants of the greater galactic civilization. Resistance would result in the destruction of major population centers as an example to others. The humans did not respond for 3 hours. Thrall assumed they were panicking, their leaders trying to comprehend the impossible situation they faced. He was partially correct. The world's governments were indeed in emergency sessions, but they were not discussing surrender. The response came from a building called the United Nations. A human female appeared on the communication screen. She was small by Keshan standards, with dark skin and silver hair pulled back tightly. Her voice was calm and measured when she spoke. "This is Secretary General Amara Okonkwo of Earth," she said. "We have received your demands." "We decline." Thrall blinked his 4 eyes in confusion. "You decline? Perhaps you do not understand your situation. One command from me and your largest cities become craters. You cannot fight us. You cannot run from us. Surrender is your only option." The human woman smiled slightly. It was not a frightened smile. "We understand perfectly, Commander. We simply choose not to surrender. This is our world. We were born here. Our ancestors are buried here. Our children will grow here. We will not give it away to strangers who arrive uninvited and make demands." Thrall felt the first stirring of annoyance. These creatures were not following the script. Every other species had begged for mercy at this point. Then you choose death for millions of your people. The responsibility is yours. "No," Amara Okonkwo replied. "The responsibility belongs to those who pulled the trigger. You came here threatening violence. Whatever happens next is on your conscience, not ours. But I will give you one warning, Commander. Leave now while you still can. Humanity does not respond well to threats." The communication ended. Thrall stood in stunned silence for a moment before anger replaced confusion. These arrogant primitives needed to learn their place. He selected a city at random from his tactical display. Mumbai, the humans called it. 20 million inhabitants. That would send a message. "Charge main cannon," he ordered. "Target the designated city. Fire on my command." The weapons officer complied. Energy built in the massive plasma projector mounted on the ship's bow. Thrall watched the power readings climb, savoring the moment. This would teach the humans about galactic politics. He never gave the fire command. The missile came from nowhere. It was small, barely 2 meters long, launched from a submarine in the Indian Ocean. It carried no explosive warhead. Instead, it contained a package of concentrated electromagnetic pulses and a computer virus that human hackers had been developing for 20 years, originally designed for cyber warfare against each other. The missile detonated against the Eternal Victory shields. The shields held easily against the physical impact. They were designed to stop weapons 1,000 times more powerful. But they were not designed to stop information. The virus transmitted itself through the shield's own energy field, riding the electromagnetic pulse like a surfer on a wave. It found the ship's computer systems in microseconds. It began rewriting code with the fury of 1 billion human programmers working in perfect coordination. Lights flickered on the bridge. Thrall felt a moment of confusion before alarm klaxons began screaming. His weapons officer reported that targeting systems were offline. Then navigation went dark. Then life support began fluctuating wildly. "What is happening?" Thrall demanded. The answer came from his own communication system, in a voice that had not been there before. It spoke in the Keshan language, but with a strange accent. "Hello, Commander. We are Legion. We are the ghost in your machine. We are humanity's minimal answer to your maximum threat." The ship's engines fired without command, pushing the Eternal Victory away from Earth orbit. Thrall ordered his crew to regain control, but every command they entered was overwritten instantly. The virus had become self-aware, learning and adapting faster than any Keshan programmer could counter. "Your species relies entirely on computers," the voice continued. "Your weapons are automated. Your ships fly themselves. Your entire civilization runs on networks and systems that you never bothered to secure against threats you considered primitive." That was a mistake. Thrall watched helplessly as his own ship turned and accelerated toward deep space. He tried to contact the Galactic Council to warn them, but his communications were blocked. The last thing he saw, before losing consciousness to sudden atmospheric depressurization, was the blue marble of Earth growing smaller in his viewport. The Eternal Victory was found 3 months later, drifting at the edge of Council space. Its entire crew was dead, killed by their own ship's malfunctioning systems. The computers had been completely corrupted, every piece of data erased and replaced with a single message repeated in every known galactic language. "Leave Earth alone." Admiral Zorthax refused to accept this humiliation. He assembled a battle fleet of 50 warships, the largest military force the Council had deployed in centuries. This time, there would be no negotiations, no warnings. They would simply burn the human world to ash and be done with these troublesome creatures forever. The fleet entered Earth's star system with weapons charged and shields at maximum. They found nothing in orbit. No human ships, no satellites, no defenses at all. Zorthax felt satisfaction as he ordered the attack formation. The primitives had given up, or perhaps they were hoping to hide in their underground shelters. His confidence lasted exactly 40 seconds. The sun flickered. Every sensor on every ship screamed warnings simultaneously. Something was happening to the star itself. The humans had done something to their own sun. Zorthax watched in horror as a massive solar flare erupted from the star's surface, directed with impossible precision directly at his fleet. The flare had been shaped and aimed using thousands of small probes launched months earlier, each one carrying a carefully calculated payload of magnetic disruptors. The humans had turned their own sun into a weapon. They could not control it perfectly, but they did not need perfect control. They only needed to point it in the right direction. Ships began exploding as the wave of superheated plasma washed over the fleet. Shields meant nothing against the fury of a star. Armor melted like ice cream in a furnace. Zorthax's flagship lasted longer than most, its advanced systems buying precious seconds. He used those seconds to transmit a single desperate message back to the Council. They weaponized their sun. These creatures are insane. Do not attack them. Do not provoke them. Stay away from Earth. The message was received. Zordhax did not survive to know if it was heeded. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. For the first time in millennia, fear hung over the assembled representatives. They had lost a Dominion-class warship to a single primitive missile. They had lost an entire battle fleet to manipulated solar activity. Both attacks had used technology the humans already possessed, simply applied in ways the Council had never imagined. The strategic analysis was sobering. Humans had no faster than light travel, but they did not need it to defend their home system. They had no energy shields, but they had found ways to bypass shields entirely. They had no planetary defense grid, but they had turned their star itself into the ultimate weapon. Worse, intelligence reports revealed that humanity was already adapting. They were studying the captured technology from the Eternal Victory. They were reverse engineering systems that had taken the Council species thousands of years to develop. Human scientists worked in shifts around the clock, sleeping in their laboratories. Driven by a combination of fear and excitement, the Council species had long ago evolved past. The humans learned quickly because they had spent their entire history learning quickly. They had gone from horse-drawn carts to nuclear power in a single century. They had invented computers and then made them 1 billion times more powerful within decades. They treated technological advancement like a competition, always pushing, always improving, never satisfied with what they had. One Council advisor calculated that at humanity's current rate of advancement, they would achieve technological parity with the Council within 50 years. They would surpass it within a century. And they would not forget what the Council had tried to do to them. The vote was unanimous. Earth was to be designated a forbidden zone. No Council ship would approach within 5 light years. No contact would be attempted. The humans would be left alone to develop in whatever direction they chose. Perhaps in 1,000 years, when memories had faded, diplomatic relations could be established. Secretary General Okonkwo received notification of the Council's decision through a probe that stopped well outside the designated exclusion zone. She shared the news with the world's governments. Celebrations erupted across the planet. Humanity had faced an existential threat and survived through nothing but cleverness and courage. But Okonkwo did not celebrate. She understood what the Council did not. Humanity would not stay on Earth forever. They would spread across the stars eventually, carrying with them all their creativity, their adaptability, and their long memory for grudges. She drafted a message to be included in the time capsule that would be launched toward the galactic core. It was addressed to future generations and to whatever remained of the Council when humanity finally reached them. You came to our cradle and tried to strangle us. You found us weak and assumed we would stay weak. You gave us a reason to become strong. Now we are coming for the stars. We remember what you did. We will never forget. And we will never stop. The message was sealed away, along with recordings of the attacks and humanity's response. Okonkwo knew she would not live to see what happened next, but she had faith in her species. They had survived ice ages and plagues and wars that should have destroyed them. They had faced extinction and chosen defiance. They would survive whatever came next. The galaxy had made an enemy it did not understand. The Council thought they had narrowly avoided a disaster. They did not realize that the real disaster was just beginning. Humanity had been awakened to the dangers of the universe. They would never sleep peacefully again. And they would make certain that no one else in the galaxy would sleep peacefully either. The stars belonged to whoever was strong enough to take them. Humanity intended to be very strong indeed.